Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I am Quazi Hossain from Consulting Firm Ltd. And today I'm back with another interesting topic, the role of a manager. But more of it in the presentation, we'll learn about it. So without further ado, let's get started with the role of a manager. But the role of a manager is going to be defined in a specific segment after a few steps of the presentation that we'll get to know about it. So first of all, we have to know the layer of the organization. So there are a lot of layers in the organization. By specified, there are only 3 layers though. In an organization, in a hierarchy, if we transform that hierarchy in a pyramid, that we can see something like this. I hope you can see this pyramid with 3 layers on it. So before understanding the role of manager, this is very important to understand the role or the stage or the level of the organization or the hierarchy of an organization. Then we can understand who are the manager, what are the role, what are the responsibilities, and what level actually the manager is existing in the first place. So first of all, who is a manager? In any nation or in any country or any overseas country, if a company established, then a manager is that person who lies in between the top management and lower level management, or you can also call the operational level management. Right. So sometimes it's also called operational level because in some company they think that there is nothing lower, everything's operational in this stage. So a manager in Bangladesh, most of the companies do have a manager, and manager is that person who has a greater sense of experience, skills, and knowledge in a specific industry that a company lies in. Only experience, only skills, and only knowledge is not enough. But if an organization is running in the steel industry, they don't need an employee from technological side or knowledge, right? So the knowledge should be, or the experience or skills should be related to that industry. Then he can be called a manager because he can create, he can manage, or he can delegate works to the other people. But we will get to know that how a manager actually travels in between these things or these layers. So now we know who is a manager, we can understand it very easily. So top management and lower management, apart from middle management. Lower level management is kind of like the body of the organization. You know, the body, here I've written body because just think for a second that if we got an order from our client, the operational level is going to production or going to produce, or if it's a manufacturing company, they're going to manufacture some goods and deliver to the next year, right? So they are just producing the company's actual service or product, right? So this is how an organization delegates the orders and converts it to the profit. So that is why we can call it as a body of the organization, because if you have to make something, you have to move your hand, you have to walk around. If we go to service, sell service, we have to visit the clients, or maybe we have to give some consultancy to our other parties, right? So you can think like this, there are more physical movement than the mental movement of your body. So, and in an organization, we can think this, the lower or operational management as a body of the organization, right? So if we understand that, then in a human body or human parts, we know that there is a body and we also have a brain. And no organization, no human being or no human or no living being can live or survive without its brain. That means a company definitely has a brain in it. So the top management, yes, the top management is the brain of the organization, because the strategies, the decisions, the changes, the future plan, the investment for the future, everything is coming from the top management because they can decide. So their main role in this pyramid or any organizational structure or any layers of the organization is to make decisions. So they are the decision maker, and we can call them top level management, the higher level management. For example, they can be the CEO of the organization, the chairman of the organization, or anyone who is authorized to make that decision by the body of the organization, right? So now I want to mention one thing apart from these three things, or these three levels. There are one more thing that sometimes we miss out, and that is here. I write something here that is supervisor. Supervisor. So a lower level management, usually they follow a usual job description. They drive by a job description, a fixed one. That means they know what to do and how to do, and they're just continuing the work as always. That means they have a fixed job description. In short, we can call it JD, and that is, but the problem is they doesn't know how to make decisions. They doesn't know to what extent the quality is measured or mentioned, or the feedbacks that we are getting, because only working, it doesn't make sense, or if I don't get a feedback from someone who has more experience than me, I cannot evaluate my work, or I cannot develop, right? The organization is not running that way. So in this lower level of operational management, we have someone or some people whom we can call supervisors. That means they have more skills, knowledge, and experience similar to lower management or operational management. They can handle those people. They can supervise the lower level management that you are doing this or doing that. They can get the reports, but their position is not the middle manager. They are just beneath the middle manager and a little bit above of lower level management or operational level management, so that the communication between these layers are very smooth, right? So here, more things are coming for mentioning, right? So first of all, we know that the lower level management has a fixed job description. That means they cannot change their job description if they want, because they are just moving their bodies, they're just producing goods, services, but they cannot make the decisions. So they are static. They're static in nature because they cannot change. Static means a fixed thing, or it doesn't move, kind of like that thing in that sense, right? But here this thing we can call this as dynamic, right? Dynamic means which is moving. That means which has the ability to change, which has the ability to innovate, or which has the ability to think or reshape the existing things in a new way, because they can use their brain. Because sometimes people may think that these people also can use their brain. But the problem is, most of the people staying here, they are maybe joining new in the organization. They don't have much of experience. They don't have a lot of skills developed for making the decisions, because everyone can make decisions. But the fruitfulness of the decision is the most important thing. The direction of the decision is the most important thing. So another thing you can ask me that why not middle managers can take the decision? Why not middle managers can go down and work for it? Because middle managers are also having the skills, knowledge, and experience higher than the lower management or operational level, right? Otherwise, they cannot get there, because once they were in the lower level management or operational level management, and they eventually became so experienced, skilled, and knowledgeable that they can get to this, right? But the problem here is, if the middle manager spends so much time on the lower level management by seeing what they are doing, but by supervising them, they cannot do their actual work that a middle manager has to do. And we'll get to that in a few seconds. But the fact is, middle manager, they can travel across all these layers. That is the most interesting fact here. Low level management, they cannot take the decision here. They can only work. The top level management, they doesn't come here and they do the production work, because they just take decision. But the interesting fact is, middle manager, they can take the decisions. They can travel across these layers. They can actually, there are two things here to mention. First of all, middle manager, they can travel. Here I drew something. You can see that they can travel across top management and they can also come down to the lower level management to hand those works or increase the productivity of the organization. So their main task is to support the decision making of the top management and increase the productivity of the lower level management, right? So the main target of middle management here is to, when the decision is coming from the top management, that has to be implemented in the organization, right? But how can they implement the strategies that the top management make? Here, middle management is going to support the top management. And if sometimes the lower level management is struggling with the productivity, they can also come down here and they can solve it out, because they know how to do it, and they are growing up to here. They can also have this knowledge. So as the business environment is dynamic, so that means it is changing every time, right? It is not static. Just think for a second that before 10 years, the strategies that every other organizations, not only us, but every other organizations they had, literally that has been changed drastically because of a lot of other factors, because it is changing. So it is more important to notify middle managers to focus on change. Let me write it, change. Without changing, or without, for example, here, I make you more clear about it. I will discuss the business life cycle so that you can understand the change and the relation between top management, middle management, and lower level management, and when it is actually required, and why change is actually required, and why I'm talking about this pyramid up to now. So, I have depict this business life cycle. We all know this business life cycle. Every business starts at a very small scale, and eventually everything has an end. So it has to go down eventually. But we have some little control over it, that we can extend the period, extend the history of the organization to some extent that the decline is delayed. Maybe it never comes. So that is why I'm talking about the change. If we understand this business life cycle very well, then we can actually relate this pyramid of organization, or the layers of the organization. So, it starts with introduction business. A business is introduced to the market, and eventually they can grow up to this, and suddenly it goes to growth stage, and then maturity, and then decline. So here you can see that this curve here and up to here, they are growing at a rapid speed. Up to here, they just introduce their goods and products or services to the market. And then after the market is saturated with their goods and services, they're getting a 2 times greater growth in their business. And they're very stable here. There's not much of a growth or not much of a decline here. But after a certain period of time, we see a drastic drop off of the curve, which is very scary to see, that a business started here and it's going down again at the same speed. So what is the point here? The point here is the human resource of the organization. If the human resource, that means this pyramid, this is human resource, right? Top management, middle management, and lower management. If this thing of an organization is, they understood the organization's vision, if they understand how to change or how to sustain their business, this is going to be delayed. So a middle manager in these business stages, what they should do, what should be their responsibility, what should be their job description. But here I want to mention that middle manager's job description is not bind with a fixed job description. They can, I say that they can travel across these layers and they can move around. That means they can expand their responsibilities throughout these stages, right? So first of all, here in introduction stage, a manager has to act like he is an entrepreneur, right? So he has to have the entrepreneurial mindset in him. That means when a company is growing, an entrepreneur, he has all the abilities to work and think for the future, That means we can translate that into strategies and implementation at a greater degree. That means in initial stage, we cannot be successful because there are a lot of barriers, obstacles are coming, right? So, new products, market education, product innovation, a lot of other things are going on. So we cannot be so successful in the initial stage, so that we have to get some trial and error of our strategies, and we have to implement that very quickly. Otherwise, we cannot success. So initial stage here, strategy times implementation. So here, a middle manager should have entrepreneurial mindset, or we can simply call them entrepreneur. A middle manager should act like an entrepreneur in this stage, because the growth of the organization is going good, so they have to have the entrepreneurial mindset. And next, when the organization experiences a great growth, then the middle managers have to do something, and that is we can call standardization. Standardization. So what is standardization? If the middle manager is so busy working on lower managerial tasks, for example, they are making, they're doing some transactional works, they're inputting data, or they're, collecting money or something like that. This is the transactional work. If they cannot delegate those works to their subordinates or their, the new people, because they don't have the time to think for the future, because here we'll be needing something that we cannot do because we don't have much of time, because we're so busy working on the lower level management and we cannot work on actual job description of middle level management. So they should have a great manual of their work, because they already have the experience, knowledge, and skills. But if they cannot delegate those things to the new people, they always have to do these works, even if they have a lot of lower management. They always have to come down to lower management and they have to work with them, because the delegation process and the manual of the work is not done properly. So an organization, if they want to survive this stage, they have to have a great standardization of work, process, and quality, right? So now we are hitting this position and we are experiencing that we are having a lot of cash going on, because we don't have to reinvest in our business, because we have already standardized our business processes, works, and quality. And here we can enjoy a lot of cash flow in our business. A lot of cash is coming. A revenue we are enjoying, because we don't have the expenses eventually going down, because we don't have to purchase new machineries. We don't have to get a lot of employees, because we know the industry, we know the business, so we don't have to invest a lot. So the margin is stable. So we can have the stable business profit. But here, ladies and gentlemen, most of the people, most of the organizations, they forget one thing, and which I also call that this is a trap, or the reason that nobody actually realized that up to now, maybe our organization is 30 years old or 25 years old, and the generation is shifting, right? Some people left or some people is here. The new people, they are thinking that my company is already established in the market. So I don't have to do it. I just have to follow things. Even the middle management thinks, yes, just have to follow what the previous person did or what my superior did. So I don't have to innovate something new. But here, you see, that middle manager was an entrepreneur. He thought about the future. He thought about the establishment. Here, they made the standardization of the process, right? But here, they're just saying, okay, I can just follow what we did previously. But I told one thing, that business environment is a dynamic thing, that it is changing always. It is not static. So here, what we have to do is to have something new in the organization. Innovation and change. Innovation and change. Changing the existing things or updating things into new things, or innovate new things for the future. So we can simply write here the innovation. Innovation. I give you an example here, that in a competitive market, right? just think about your device that you are looking at, maybe laptop or computer or smartphone. You are looking at this meeting, right, or webinar. Just think about it. Before 5 years or 6 years, your company of the mobile phone or computer or laptop, they had a vision or they had a future plan of making this device, right? Otherwise, they couldn't make it. The numbers are changing, the versions are changing every day, or I mean every year. That means if it is an iPhone 12, the next rate is coming iPhone 13. They are not selling the old phone again. And you can see that if they sell the old thing, the sales are going down because this is the same thing, right? This is the same thing that people already bought it or they know about it. There's nothing new about it. So why should we buy 3 years old thing today, right? So it's not going to be sold. So similarly, in business, we have to think for the future. After 10 years, the same thing is not going to be accepted by the customers, right? Because there is a need for change. There is a need for innovation. There is a need for research and development, seeding for the future. Saving for the future, kind of like those things, right? That means we have to have a future plan, and that is what is innovation. It can be an innovation in process, it can be innovation in product, or maybe management or managerial aspect, anything. There are a lot of things, but the fact is, in maturity stage, you have to have the innovation. Otherwise, now I talk about otherwise, if we don't bring the innovation in our organization, what happens? Eventually, we have to experience the decline stage because there is no other way, because it is going down anyways. So innovation at this maturity stage must have to be implied by any organization. Otherwise, the decline stage is coming very soon. But the problem is, most of the managers, they are busy with working of low-level managerial tasks. The complaints you can hear from your managers that they say that I'm so busy working with this, I'm so busy working with sales or maybe transactions, collecting money, a lot of urgent works, a sudden boost in sales. That's why I have to work these things. I don't have the time to think for the future. I don't have the time for the things because this is making money, right? Current jobs, they are making money. And working for future, that is not coming so easily because it needs some time to get the return on investment of your time, right? That is why most of the managers think that if I work for the current production, I'll be evaluated higher by the organization. Maybe I'll be recognized by the organization that, yes, this person is doing very good. The revenue is increasing. But the real problem comes when, because actually we are getting the cash flow, right? Anyways, because we are in the maturity stage. So we will be getting a lot of money, a lot of sales, and a lot of things. But eventually, this will come down. So the manager, here I dropped one thing, that is, this is a quadrant of urgency and importance of work. This, you can just think about it, that this is urgency or urgent, and this is importance, right? Importance. So what happens is, this portion is the current works that we are doing every day, and we are generating profit here. This works. Because suddenly we're getting sales from an organization or some client. They order so many things that we cannot avoid, but we all have to work on that because the money is coming anyways. So most of the times in our organization, people are busy with the urgent but important. This quadrant represents urgent and important both, because this is a high importance and high urgency. Urgency high and importance is also high in this quadrant. So we cannot avoid this. But for the development of the organization, we must have to follow this portion as well. For example, you can see the urgency here is low, but the importance is actually high, this quadrant. That means you can spend 5% of your time here and 90% here. Most of the time it happens that most of the time 90% of the 95% of your time is spent in urgent works and 5% on the importance of the work. So if a manager thinks for the future, they must have to work on this quadrant as well. So for example, I give you another example here. That is, think about an agricultural field where there are a lot of crops, and you are seeing there are a lot of crops, and I can just harvest it, and then I can sell it or I can consume it. This is very easy because there is always, it's already prepared, right? But think about seeding those crops in the first place. If we try to seed that crops, it takes time to grow and give the benefit, right? So, but eventually this 5% will help the organization to extend the maturity level or stage in an organization. So my message is, please follow the job responsibilities in business life cycle or a stage of your business and act accordingly. If your organization in an introduction stage, and if you're a middle manager, then think about the entrepreneurial mindset. And if your business is in a growth stage, please make a standardization of your works, manuals, create manuals, and delegate your works to the subordinates. And if you're in the maturity stage, think about the innovating new things. Otherwise, the business is going down anyways. Right. Thank you very much for attending today's morning session, and we will be seeing you on next Wednesday with a new presenter and new learnings. And till then, goodbye. Stay safe. Thank you very much.